How's it going, guys? It's your favorite entrepreneur, Elder Tony Williams. I'm a real estate investor and real estate agent, and I post content pretty much every single week here on YouTube. If it's your first time, welcome. I highly recommend that you go to the beginning of the channel and watch every single video from beginning to end, because each video gives you investment knowledge on business and finance. With that, let's get into the video. So I wanted to bring this video to the forefront of YouTube due to the fact I see a lot of people talking about possibly a V-shaped recovery and America actually coming out of this pandemic untouched, unharmed, and everything going back to normal. I really don't think that's the case. With everything that I'm actually seeing in my local markets. I mean, I highly recommend you go to your local markets, your local downtown, and see what businesses are actually still operating during a time like this, or may even still be operating after the fact. I don't believe it's going to be many. Actually, I went to my local market, which is Cleveland, Ohio, and I went down there just one night. I was thinking, hey, let me drive the night. And it was so many bars and restaurants that I loved that were closed. And it's not just closed for the protest or the riots being boarded up. These buildings are closed for good, and they are also trying to get leased out, just due to the fact that the previous business owner couldn't afford to stay afloat during these times. That's another reason I feel like this is totally different from the stock market. The stock market and the real market on what we see every day is something that's totally different, because my stocks are still going up. I mean, I have money in the stock market. They're still going up. But the everyday small business owner is struggling tremendously right now. So with that being said, I want to jump in my car, roll down there, shoot some quick videos of the businesses that I had seen last night that were closed. It was too dark last night when I was rolling around, but today I'll be actually able to shoot these videos so you can see what the local market is doing. So I've actually visited our downtown area here, and to tell you how many businesses are boarded up that was once thriving right before the pandemic is insane. I mean, I'm talking about 80% of the businesses downtown, in our downtown, is actually boarded up. And before the pandemic, it was actually nothing actually wrong with them. I mean, the nightclubs I used to visit, it's a spot downtown Cleveland where it's called West 6, and it has a ton of bars, restaurants. Even East 4th has a ton of bars, ton of restaurants, and just by being closed for over a month due to mandatory shutdowns, it put a lot of those businesses out of business. I see it as a very sad point and state in our economy, but I do see it as a great opportunity for people that do want to get into the restaurant or nightclub space. It's so many places downtown that's actually for lease at the moment because of what's going on. I was just blown away because I never thought it'd come to this point. You would think, since businesses are making so much money per month or per year, that they have the cash flow set aside to be able to weather the storm if it was ever a point in time where they couldn't produce business like they were doing before the pandemic. But that is definitely not the case. Actually, I'm gonna shoot some video, or actually show you guys what some of the buildings look like inside of our downtown, and remind you, like, these areas were thriving, Dayton, but now they have boards on the windows, and it's not only just because of the riots or the protests that were actually going on. This is because these businesses could not maintain inside of a shutdown. So I stay a little bit away from downtown, but I'm working my way downtown now just so we can see if we can catch a glimpse of some of these buildings that are for lease right now. So as you see, guys, here we have a Starbucks that's closed up. Building right next to it is closed up as well, but we don't have boards on the windows. Then we have a Bar Louie, which was a very, very popular restaurant and bar down here that is also closed up. I don't believe these are going to recover. As a matter of fact, as you see, it says for lease. So a lot of these buildings are for lease right now because the prior business isn't going to be able to pay the rent on it. It's crazy times we are actually living in right now. And I must remind you, these were very thriving businesses right before the pandemic. So if you really feel like we're going to have a V-shaped recovery, I don't think that's going to be the case. Yeah, the stock market's doing well, but real, live, actual businesses are doing horrible right now. They're two different things. Luckily, we have a place next to it that is still open for business. One of the very few that were able to hold off here during the pandemic. Very few. Another building here for lease. Very, very popular bars. Very, very popular bars are not able to stay open right now. Like I say, it's a great time for a beginning entrepreneur if you do have the capital to start up here in the downtown Cleveland area. You still see bar stools and equipment inside these bars. Another great building right here on the corner, closed down and for lease. What a shame. So as you see, it is crazy down there. Almost 80% of the businesses are boarded up and closed. And that's not even getting into that's the retail space. That's not actually getting into the residential spaces that are above those buildings that are probably struggling due to the tenants not being able to pay rent for those downtown locations due to job loss, or just not paying rent in general just because in Cleveland, Ohio, they pushed back evictions for multiple months. So these landlords are actually struggling, not only with the retail side, but also with the residential side with their tenants as well. So I always try to bring something positive out of situations like this. And it is something positive. The new and beginning entrepreneurs, such as myself and you, have the opportunity to go in and get these buildings for very, very low rents. And that's what collapses or so-called recessions are for. It's for the new players to be able to step into the market. So people that were running their businesses incorrect and running their businesses on high levels of debt, they fall out of the market. And then the people that have saved and had a lot of capital set aside, ready to jump on these deals, they're able to jump into the market. If you're already in the market, you're able to jump into the market even stronger now and expand. So for you new guys out there that want to open restaurants or nightclubs or businesses, I highly recommend that you go to your local downtown area, see what's vacant, and then just try to shoot them offers very, very low to see if you can get your foothold inside of that industry. I mean, right now is a very tough time. So those are the times you actually want to move on these industries. But you're going to want to have a lot of capital set aside before you actually make that move, because we don't know when we're going to come out of this pandemic. I mean, you can get a spot rented out and you can still have it be empty for 6 months. So keep that in mind. But like I said, this is a golden opportunity for the new guys, me and you, to be able to jump in businesses like this. And this is an opportunity that I have been waiting on, to be able to jump on these businesses that were operating incorrect and didn't have enough funds to be able to sustain the pandemic. It's sad, but that's what happens with recessions. In the American economy we live in today, we're going to recover. We don't know when we're going to recover, but we will recover. And then now is the perfect time for you to be able to step in and go up with that upward swing. Hey, if you liked the video, make sure you hit like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, I'm dropping videos like this every single week on YouTube. With that, see you in the next video.